Hi friends, welcome to Learner Ansari Java tutorial. In this tutorial, you are going to learn what is a class and object in Java. So let us start with a basic question. What is a class? In Java, the class is a blueprint or template of an object. object. So the class, the use of a class is to define the state and behavior of any object. So the class is nothing but it's a template for an object, and we can define the state and behavior of an object. So the class will contain the instance variables and methods for an object. So the object will have whatever we have defined inside the class. Okay, let me explain the class and object practically. So here let me create a class X class. Okay, so here we have created a class. Okay, let me create another class. In Java program can have multiple classes in a single program, but only one program should be declared as public, and that public class should have the main function. So that class name should be matched with the file name. So here we have created another class, and class. Okay, so this is the right syntax to create a class in Java. So in C++, we end with semicolon, but here the semicolon is optional. We don't need to give semicolon when we end the class. So this is the class. Let me create two instance variable, integer number, for example, integer age is equal to 25, and string name is equal to James. Okay, so this particular class we have defined two different instance variables. So age is initialized with 25, and the name string object is initialized with James. And we can create the object for an employee here. Employee E is equal to new employee. Okay, now the E is initialized with the newly created employee object. So now the E will have the two data members. One is age, another one is a name. So the E contains whatever we have defined inside the employee class. So how to access it? We cannot access the class members without the help of the object. The object is nothing but the object is an instance of a class. The use of an object is using the object we can access all the properties of a class. Here the properties of a class is the two data members, nothing but the integer variable age and the string object name. So if you want, we can display inside system.println and e dot age, and for example e dot name space and e dot age. So this will display the name and age what is defined inside the class. Let me execute. So here James 25. If you want to change, we can change e dot name is equal to Gosling, and e dot age is equal to 26. This will not affect this agent name. This will affect the name which is inside this E. Whenever we create the object, the copy of the class is created in a memory. So the memory name is nothing but it's E. So now let us display this node out dot println E dot name plus E dot age. When you execute this, it gives us Gosling 26. Initially, when we created the object, it prints us James and 25. We have modified the e dot name and e dot age later. So now it displays Gosling 26. And we can create multiple objects for the same class. Now employee E1 is equal to new employee. System.println E1 dot name plus E dot E1 dot age. Now the E will have different age and name, and E1 will have different age1, age and James. The both are different objects. The E contains two data member of your class employee, and E1 will have another two. Both are different. Whenever we create the object, the object copies whatever defined inside the class. So if you change the E1 data, it will not affect the E's data member. For example, here it displays James 25 for E1 and E2. Let us change this. E1 dot name is equal to Peter, and E1 dot age is equal to 30. This E1 will not affect the data member of E, because the E object is a separate object which contains the name and age. The E1 is another object which contains the name and age. I hope you understand. Whenever we create a object, the object copies whatever defined inside the class. For example, when we create, when this particular line is executed, it allocates a memory. The new operator is nothing but it allocates a memory for whatever defined inside the class. For example, employee. So employee is created, the E object is created, E object is created, and this E contains the two data members, nothing but, and string pool memory. So here, this is your name, this is age, and it contains this age is what we have given defined here 25, 25. Then the name is nothing but James. So the same thing will happen when we create the another object. Employee E1 is equal to new employee. This new operator allocates a memory for the employee class again and store it as E1 as a, for example, here when we create E1, it allocates a separate memory. So E1. So this E1 object contains separate age and name. So it contains 25 James, and this is age, and this is name. So if you create one more object, the same thing will happen in memory. For example, here after this, what we have done, once the object is created, we are printing the e dot name and e dot age. So what is printed? E contains age. So e dot age means we refer this particular memory named as age. So this is printed 25, and e dot name James. So James 25 is printed. And the third line, we have changed e dot name is equal to Gosling. So it affects e dot name. So this James, now it is created a new object, and now James is replaced with, this is a string object, it is immutable, that we will discuss in later tutorial what is object immutability. So now the name is changed to Gosling, and the age, e dot age, now it is modified to 26. It was 25 before, now e dot age, now it has become 26. So when we print system.out.println e dot name and e dot age after the modification, now the e object refers Gosling and the age is 26, but e1 is not modified because here at the time I have created the object, it is memory is loaded with age 25 and name James. But after creating the object in the very next line, I am modifying the name e1 dot name. So I am changing the e1 dot name, so I'm not changing the e1 dot, sorry, e dot name. So here the e1 object I'm modifying. Now it is already modified from James to Gosling and 25 to 26. Now e object has a name with Gosling and age with 26. And the e1 object has a name James and 25 at the time of object creation. And after creating the object, the very next line I'm modifying the name. So now e dot name is changed to Peter and e1 dot age is changed to 30. Now in memory, age will become 30 and name refers the new object Peter. Now when I print e dot name and e dot age, it prints Peter and 30, the modified object. So that is what happened here. Hope you understand what is a class and object. So the class is a blueprint or template for an object. The object is nothing but the instance of a class which is used to access the properties of a class. So we can create a number of objects for any class. So the point I'm here to, and the point I'm trying to make it here is, a program can have multiple classes, but the only one class can be declared as public. That is considered as a main class, so it should have the main method. Another class should not have the main method. In a single program, only one class should be declared as public, and that class should have the main method. And the class which has the main method should be given to the file name X class. Hope you understand. Thanks for watching.